projection.
Welcome to Taking on Sports, y'all. I am TD. That is Greg. Greg, how you doing this week?
I am good. How are you today, sir?
I'm pretty good. How's your new year so far?
So far, so good.
Yeah.
Just enjoying chill day at home, watch some NFL games as we round out the end of the regular season here. But how's yours?
Pretty good. Same thing. I've never been a big New Year's Eve guy going out
Right.
wise, so I always enjoy chilling at home,
Yeah.
watching football, or maybe if we have some friends over, that's fine by me, but
Right.
avoid that craziness. But yeah, speaking of football, last night we'll get into it. We have been asking for 8 years now to get us some good playoff games in college football, and boy, did we get two yesterday. Both of them just outstanding. Where you want to start? Which one do you want to start with, Greg?
Yeah, I guess we could just start with we'll start with the I guess we'll start with the early one and end with the late one. Start with the TCU and TCU Michigan game, and
Man,
that game just just wild the way TCU just jumped out, pick six to start the game, and then it just got that early lead there and held on there. Michigan the second half really turned things around there, and TCU kind of did the opposite of what they normally do. Normally they're down and hit a comeback, and did the exact opposite yesterday. And held on for dear life, and and on to California.
it was an absolute wild game. Like you mentioned, TCU, usually the cardiac kids themselves, they jumped out. At one point had, a 19-point lead?
21. Yeah, they were up 21-3 at one point.
And then 41-22 at another point. And Michigan, to their credit, stormed back, and they brought it down late. But TCU held on, just like we said. They had, two pick sixes in that game, and a bunch of big plays from that receiver's name. I always forget, Tomlinson.
Oh, John.
Johnston. Is that it?
Yeah.
Either way,
Yeah.
you're going to know him because he's going to be drafted in the first round this year.
Go first round. I mean, he's quite a heck of a talent.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of what I said a couple weeks ago. In both semifinals, I think the teams that were tired of hearing for a straight month that there was no way Michigan and Georgia weren't gonna win.
Mm-hmm.
And then heard that, and man, yeah. But TCU are also hearing that that they're the little guys, and Michigan's gonna just out physical them all game, and I mean they went toe to toe with Michigan like no other.
Oh, yeah, and they absolutely stepped up and just said, we're not getting pushed around. Everyone thought, like you mentioned, everyone thought Michigan was going to come in there with their big boys and just push TCU around, who's more of a finesse team. But TCU held their own, had a bunch of big plays on their own just all game. I mean, it was insane. Just big play, both sides, big play.
Oh, and then, but Michigan. I mean, they that comeback was crazy because they were down 20, almost 18-21, and then you blink and Magdeburg scores two touchdowns in like no time at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it went from Duggan had that 1 yard run to put TCU up 41-22 with under a minute left in the third quarter, and then less than a minute into the fourth quarter, Michigan already brought it within 3.
Yeah,
and then that's when Quentin Johnston had that 76-yard pass where he got loose from that defender and just trucked it down the sidelines. TCU added a field goal after that. Michigan scored yet another touchdown, but could not get that final one. That controversial, as some people say, maybe that the targeting at the end. I didn't know the rule. I didn't know you could just review it for targeting. I thought you had to have a flag first and then review it. So, but
that's, I don't know. But I in that situation, I hate to see that targeting, because I mean, I guess, and technically, I guess technically they could have called it there, but just in that situation, I mean, obviously no one's trying to it was definitely wasn't a headshot or anything crazy. I mean, they were just playing football there. So I thought it was a good no call. I hate to see that kind of in the game, kind of like in an Arkansas Kansas game that targeted at the end of that one. But
Mm-hmm.
I, I thought overall it was a good no call. I thought it's just football players playing football, nothing dirty, nothing malicious there. So
Yeah, it's one of those tough ones where the offense player gets spun around when the guy's already started lunging at
it's hard to it's almost impossible to change your
momentum like
trajectory.
that. Yeah. Um, that's one thing. Yeah, that's always you got to finesse and tweak that rule. Really, if you want to know, the big controversial call was earlier in the game. Michigan hit a deep pass. The receiver fell on his backside. Appeared to fall in the end zone with it. They ruled him down at about the 1/2 inch line. And Michigan fumbled the next play. TCU recovers.
Yeah,
That would have made it, I think, like a 14-10 game at that point. TCU goes on up 21-3. If I'm a Michigan fan, that's where my gripe is. Now, granted, you keep giving up all these big plays, throw 2 pick
right.
sixes, but
But yeah, I mean, definitely. Because I was watching, but I was doing other stuff with the kids, and getting ready for uh, our little thing we do for New Year's with the kids and all. So I'm thinking. And then I walked out the room because for sure I saw that play. So I thought, well, that's a touchdown. I'll go do something, come back and TC out of the bar or something.
mm-hmm.
And I hear fumble. I'm like, fumble? What? TC fumbled the kick? Come back. I'm like, oh, wow. I couldn't believe that wasn't a touchdown. But
It was insane, yeah, but just an absolute
just so,
barn burner game. TCU earned it after that, you know, after they poured their heart out in the Big 12 title game and lost to Kansas State. They came back when people weren't really giving them a shot, and they said, we have earned our way to Los Angeles to go play for a national title. Sonny Dykes, first year coach there at
yeah.
TCU. Cal fans got to be kicking themselves. Their administration fired him a couple seasons ago. Uh,
Yeah,
eh,
it just shows you different situations and different times in your life. It just works out way differently because
mm-hmm.
he had some tough years at Cal there. I don't didn't quite go as expected, but I think he probably learned a lot from that, and has him well along his way. He had some good years at SMU there, and that's another thing. SMU TCU kind of rivalry, and now he takes SMU from a formidable team, goes across the DFW, and now in the playoffs. So
Yeah,
yeah,
maybe not as high profile as it was back in the Southwest Conference days, but that stings SMU fans right there for him to go to the crosstown rival and not only just have success, but just lead them to a national title in his first year.
first year, a team that hadn't been to the national championship since the 30s.
But yeah, the Hypno Toad strikes again, and they will go on to face the defending champion Georgia Bulldogs, who pulled out a comeback win over Ohio State.
Wow.
Another just outstanding game in the nightcap. Another one where the two teams just kind of traded haymakers. Just big plays. Ohio State jumped out early. Georgia came back. Ohio State kind of built up a little lead. Georgia kept coming back, took the lead late. And then the worst try at a game-winning kick I've ever seen.
That was horrible.
Horrible. Feel bad for the kid, but man, that was.
But I thought it was a lot wrong with that. After that run, because they run got them in pretty good. I mean, they didn't try to get to the middle of the field or
Mm-mm.
anything like
Oh no, they did him no favors. They did that kid no favors.
favors. And then the hold was pretty bad. But yeah, but just yeah, but definitely one of the worst kicks I think I've ever seen. I mean, granted it was a 50-yarder, but it was so shanked. Like,
I mean,
so,
it was about. It wouldn't have been good if you had two goalposts.
if it, no, that I don't know. That was just wild.
But yeah, the two
But
teams just traded. Georgia owned the fourth quarter. They went into it down 14,
yeah, they
and
scored 8 fourth quarter.
mm-hmm. And they
And what
they did it. They earned that win. Stetson Bennett
that
balled
man,
out.
that man is. I mean, I don't think he's going to have a long NFL career, but that man is definitely will never have to do another days of work in the state of Georgia. That man,
No, no.
he is a legend. I mean, just won the title last year, led the comeback and cool clutch. I mean, you can't ask for much else. I mean, the times they looked absolutely dead, and just kept answering the bell. And the I guess really the other momentum thing after Marvin Harrison Jr. kind of after he
Hmm.
got hurt there. I mean, still they shouldn't have lost the lead like that, but that kind of changed the whole Ohio State offense. I mean, they kind of fell off after that. But,
Yeah, credit to C.J. Stroud who really put that offense on his back and did everything he could. You mentioned now Marvin Harrison Jr. He's without his top two running backs. Just did everything he could, and like we said on that last drive, he had a couple big plays himself, scrambles.
Rambles and that long run that they had.
Hmm.
For a second, I thought he was hitting the. I thought he was going to go for the touchdown.
Hmm.
He was, yeah, he had quite the open field for him. But those Georgia defenders closed in pretty quickly. And
Yeah, that speed there on that Georgia end. But yeah, we mentioned that last series of play calling from Ryan Day. So they get that big scramble from Stroud to
yeah,
get within field goal range. And then he calls a first down run that goes nowhere, right into the line, but takes it out of Stroud's hands. And then
yeah,
two pass plays, but they go downfield, not even like quick little hitters or anything that
no,
would let
draw
their
out.
playmaker get in space or anything. No read option or anything for Stroud to try to make a play, nothing to get like maybe 10, 15 more yards to make it an easier field goal. Like you mentioned, they didn't move it to the center of the field.
They didn't do anything to help out the kicker at all.
Just another instance of a college coach playing for a field goal with a college kicker. Y'all should just stop doing that. Of all people that knew this, Les Miles knew that. He would have a chip shot field goal and still go for the end zone, and it worked
Yeah,
out. But so Georgia goes on. They'll try to defend their title against TCU. I haven't seen. Let's see if we got some early lines here.
they opened last night at 14, right after the game.
14. Yeah, that's. I
Quite
mean,
the.
talent wise, you would have to go. Yeah, okay, Georgia should beat this, but we said the same thing about Michigan, and you just can't count out this TCU team, man.
They're different.
They're different.
They're
Hacksaw Max Duggan back there leading them, man.
different. I mean, you got to think. I mean, this was a man. I mean, he's had an up and down career at TCU.
Mhm.
Started the season after being a quarterback for a couple of seasons, and then not even a starter. Came into it again because the freshman got hurt against Colorado, and now he's just coming to his own. I mean, he had some. I mean, he had some instances of greatness at times with his running abilities, but never consistent. And he just finally all put it together this year and got the opportunity to do so after the other guy got hurt. And you have to wonder, if that injury doesn't happen in the Colorado game, does this TCU team even do this? I
Yeah,
mean,
one of
Mac,
them sliding doors moments.
he's the heart of that team this year. I mean,
Hmm.
this is craziness.
Oh yeah, that one is Monday the 9th. So that will be a
Yeah,
fun game. Look forward to. Speaking of great quarterback performances, Iowa. No, just kidding. Uh, Iowa did beat Kentucky 21-0 on strength of two pick sixes themselves. But last year's Heisman Trophy winner Bryce Young in Alabama rolled over Kansas State in the Sugar Bowl after a shaky start, went down 10-0 early, and then scored on 5 straight drives and kind of looked like those Alabama offenses we were accustomed to the past few seasons before
oh
this
yeah,
one.
oh
Bryce
yeah,
Young finished 15-21, 321 yards, 5 touchdowns. Hell of a way to end his Alabama career,
sure.
barring any shocking announcements that he's coming back. Um, uh, Saban did a great thing too. Took him off, let him play the first down of a series late, and then substituted him for Milrow. Let him get that standing ovation that he deserved.
For sure.
Um,
But just an epic performance. Like you said, started off shaky there. A couple of miscues with Burton early there looked a little off there, but they quickly got it together, and after going down 10-0, was like, not today, Kansas State.
Mhm. Yeah, made a couple. Just that throw to Brooks in the third quarter,
Oh my
absolute
goodness, perfect.
NFL throws.
Oh, beautiful.
Absolutely shown why he might be the first pick in the draft. Yeah, we mentioned the slow start. Yeah, Deuce Vaughn, of course, he got his that 88-yard touchdown run, the longest run against Alabama in what, like ever? 80
Ever.
years, something like that. Just
It's been quite quite some time. They had over 100 yards there in the first quarter rush. Something that we know doesn't happen hardly ever.
mm,
That Vaughn, I mean, he's a special running back there. Um,
yeah, absolute talented guy. They were kind of killing Alabama those short passes early. It took old Pete about 4 possessions to realize that
yeah,
there's a
it was
bunch of slow wide receivers. They're not really burning our guys deep. We can play press coverage. We didn't need to give them those 10, 15-yard cushions they were giving them.
yeah, because Kurt Warner's kid was kicking our ass.
We don't want no Iowa farm boy kicking our
I
ass,
was like,
right?
this dude couldn't even really cut it at Nebraska. Came to I was at Kansas State as a walk on, and really they were talking about during the game. It was there because the coach knows Kurt Warner. But come on, I was thinking, my goodness, we're just letting this guy. They were burning us. Him and that other big guy, the
Yeah.
most
Oh,
unassuming wide receivers ever.
mm-hmm.
I was like, my goodness, but he got it together.
Yeah, after
Good to see.
that, defense really locked it down after
Um,
that. But
Shut down the game. Didn't give up too much more passing until late. Um,
took,
so overall, it was impressive because you never know how a team's going to come out. But after those first couple of drives, they were locked in, and it's good to see everybody that's gonna Bryce and Will and everybody go out as a solid winner there.
right? Sugar Bowl champs, Alabama, kind of that Sugar Bowl curse lately, playing in that
Yeah,
game that when it doesn't mean anything. The losses to Utah and Oklahoma in recent years. Good to see them win. Speaking of defensive guys, Brian Branch had the best game he's ever played in an Alabama uniform.
yeah.
He must have been shown out for some scouts or something.
I mean, they must have got he must have got a good grade or so someone gave him something because he was ready to go. Had a heck of a game.
Yeah, you wonder if that means that he might jump early if he gets a first, maybe second round grade, or if maybe if he doesn't get that first round, maybe he comes back. And if we see that Brian Branch all next season, that's a hell of a leader on the back end of that defense.
I think Jordan Battle's coming back too. I mean, he announced last night he was coming back. So
Yeah, but yeah, great performance. It'll have Bama fans asking, where that was all season. Of course.
uh,
Yeah, I even texting. I think when my dad complimented that Latu touchdown in the second quarter, that play call by
yeah,
Bill O'Brien was a great little goal line play call. Random motioned him inside like he was gonna run block, and then just hit him out in the flat, wide open.
and I think Latu. I mean, he's turning quite the tight end there. He got his overall, pretty sure hands. Got almost became the most consistent receiver in a lot of situations.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of, he'll go under overall probably underappreciated, but you think it has definitely some solid performances for us this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Always good to have a big guy tight end like that too that can make plays. Kind of struggled to find one of those since OJ Howard left, and we really didn't even use him as much as we could have,
No,
except against
after
Clemson. Uh,
right when he got what 2 or 3 touchdowns there against
mhm.
Clemson and yeah,
But
and
yeah, so now it's the season. You kind of mentioned will be Alabama fans will be paying attention to who decides to leave and stay. If anybody else hits a transfer portal, what transfers we might bring in. Do we go with Milrow or one of the freshmen at quarterback? Do we go after one of these transfer portal quarterbacks?
you know, I think at some point we gotta sit back and just let, especially the quarterback spot, let the folks that are in the program, get a chance to be the guy there. Just because they're going to be there 2 3 years, have some consistency there instead of switching in and out every year. So I think I would like to see us go that route and have someone within already the program, win at least a quarterback job.
Absolutely, and a lot of that I'm sure depends on who's going to be calling the offense next year. More reports that Bill O'Brien is in discussions to go to New England after the season and be an actual offensive coordinator for the Patriots who don't have one. Which would be good news on for both ends. Alabama fans would be happy to see him go, and New
I'm
England
sure
would
New
get
England.
themselves someone with pro experience who had some success in the pros. With he was on the staff when Tom Brady was there, had a decent seasons as a Texans coach. He was just not a good GM at all. Made some horrible
Yeah,
trades
I
there,
mean,
but
being a head coach and a GM. I mean,
yeah,
it's hard enough being a head coach, but head coach and GM, and at this point he'll be in the NFL just doing um, OC stuff if he goes back to New England. So, yeah, that'll be very interesting to see what we do with that. I'm just hoping whatever route we go, I would like a younger guy that has some just innovative and not just living off the talent that's in the program there.
yeah, for
'Cause,
sure. So yeah, that's going to be a really interesting thing to watch going forward. Is the coordinator position, obviously, the coaching staff in general. Is there going to be a big shakeup?
yeah,
Is
be interesting.
is it just going to
But
be on
I
the
think,
offensive side? Is it going to be in defense? Is Golden's job safe? Did he save himself by playing a good, coaching a good game yesterday? Or we'll
yeah,
see. Add on to
it'll be
that
interesting.
impressive recruiting
Yeah.
class that we have signed
Oh,
so far.
crazy good recruiting class. Of course, on paper it's amazing. It's just about developing what comes in, and then also keeping what comes in with the NIL and transfer portal, and everybody wanting to be the guy right away. That's the juggle of college football these days. Just keeping everybody you can in the program there. So
Hmm.
that'd be interesting. But Nick Saban, where they really outdid themselves on the recruiting trail this year. Got after it there. As all the talking about Bama being done and dead, and Nick being on the outs, and Kirby being the the best head coach in college football, and the end of the Alabama dynasty, and Nick Saban, still pulls that. I mean, that's impressive in itself because we know the young folks all about social media and hearing everything, so there are ears open to everything, and to still pull it off like that, that's quite impressive.
Indeed, it is. Yeah, 7 5 stars for the Tide so far. Especially on a couple of big ones on the defensive side of the ball. But like you said, it's about development. They're great high school players right now, but we'll see what happens once they get in to the
Right.
system, go through the process, and we'll see if we can't turn them into maybe Alabama's back in the playoff next year
Yeah,
in
for
the
sure.
last season of the 14 playoff.
Yeah.
We'll go. You mentioned that Liberty Bowl game with the controversial ending itself, Arkansas Kansas.
Oh,
That game really kind of kick-started a
the
great
craziness.
bowl week. Before that, it's
Yeah.
kind of a tame bowl season. A couple of decent games, but nothing really
Yeah.
exciting. And that game
Exactly.
this past Wednesday just
Just
kicked it
open
off.
things up.
It did, yeah.
Yeah.
There was that one later that night, that Oregon North Carolina Holiday Bowl.
That was a hard one.
The next day on Thursday, we had three good games. Minnesota Syracuse, Florida State beat Oklahoma, Washington beat Texas. Friday, we had that outstanding Gator Bowl, Notre Dame over South
Oh,
Carolina.
it was
Um,
definitely a back and forth.
the Sun Bowl with Pitt and UCLA was a wild one.
Yeah.
Tennessee just bounced Clemson out of
Basket.
the Orange Bowl.
My goodness.
The orangest Orange Bowl of all time.
Huh.
Joe Milton showing off his cannon of an arm. I'm not sure if he does. He is he going to be their guy next year? Does he have eligibility?
I think he does, but I don't know if he's gonna be the guy or not because they're really big on that. The can't think of his name right now, but they have that freshman coming in.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name either, but yeah, he certainly made a case for
Because
himself.
he's much improved from the time when he got benched at the start of last year. Because he was a starter in 21 until he got benched in that pit game.
Right.
Um, kept overthrowing everybody, and Hooker came in, won that game, and never looked back. But
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he does. I'm pretty sure Milton has one more year in him.
He was the quarterback in that infamous the Ole Miss game with the mustard throwing and all that. And remember him throwing a Hail Mary in that game about 17 rows deep in the end zone stands. But
Mm.
yeah, it's been a
Yeah, he
fun
had
bowl season. We still got a few games left.
a few nice
This
games.
week we got Mississippi State and Illinois, Tulane and USC in the Cotton Bowl. Let's see, LSU Purdue. That might be a sneaky good
Fun
one.
game. With was it Penn State and
Penn State
Utah
and
on the
Utah in
road?
the Rose Bowl. Yep, all those are tomorrow, or I guess today if you listen to this on Monday. And then, like we said, on the 9th, it'll be the national title game. So a fun end to what was a really fun college football season.
A wild season and bowl season lived up to that wildness at least in the second week.
Yeah, so we'll move on to the pros. Some interesting results early on today. With some teams locking up some playoff spots. The Giants locked up their first
Wow.
playoff berth in 7, 8 seasons.
Yeah.
Brian Daboll, former Alabama offense coordinator, doing a hell of a job there. Daniel Jones might get himself an extension, might be their quarterback
Yeah.
after all.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they looked out. Had a tough December. Took some L's there, but yeah, I mean, with other teams falling off, the Commanders definitely didn't help themselves today.
Lost to the
And
Browns.
yeah, the Giants took advantage of that, got themselves in the playoffs. Yeah, and overall, quite the turnaround in year one there. I mean, what they've been the last since Coughlin, it's been some lean years there.
Mm-hmm.
Some ugly years, but yeah, definitely has them in the right direction there. Able to make work with Danny Dons. Saquon finally healthy for a majority of the season, which was key to them. And it's just a matter of eventually just finding wide receivers that can stay healthy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and maybe getting themselves a good number one guy on that receiving core.
Exactly, because they've tried a lot of different things and nothing has really worked for this team. So
No, they locked up their wild card, and I believe they will be the 6th seed there in the
mhm.
NFC. Um, the Eagles on their NFC East mate again failed to lock up home field advantage
Yeah,
in the
lost.
division that's still open too. Lost
Yeah,
today to the Saints,
yeah.
who are keeping their slim playoff hopes alive.
That whole was so funny.
Yeah, very slim. Um, let's see here.
Then
The Cowboys, they won Thursday night over the Titans, so they still, like we said, they still have a shot to steal the division.
they'll have a shot to steal the division,
Mm-hmm.
which is crazy considering after that Jacksonville loss, you thought for sure things were dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just the way the Eagles were playing, but Jalen Hurts
That
going out, and maybe those 2 losses without him, maybe a case for his, or
MVP for sure.
exactly, yeah. Seems to be a lot of people seems that Mahomes already has it, which wouldn't be a horrible pick
I
at all,
mean,
but he's got a great talent around him. But you see what's happening to that Philly offense without
without,
Hurts.
I mean,
It's
if
rough.
everybody else is healthy, so yeah,
Mm-hmm.
definitely shows you just how much Jalen means to that offense and just what his abilities, not only as a passer, does because it's quite different with Gardner Minshew under center than Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, the Vikings still have a shot. They are currently scoreless with the Packers.
Just started
The
there.
Niners have a shot, but they're down 10-7 to Jarrett Stidham and the Las Vegas Raiders. Maybe the end of the Derek Carr era there.
Looking that way because I mean, it's one thing to sit them for the rest of the season because it's over, but then they're basically like, don't come back to the building to throw off the team. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
there's
that's
definitely the end of the
yeah, you're right. It's
that.
always one thing to be like, let's give this. We don't have a shot at the playoffs. Let's see what this
Not
young we
anybody
got. This
hurt,
young guy got. No, he's just when you see that Derek Carr stepping away from the team, it's like, oh, okay then.
and don't come back because it's going to throw off the chemistry of the team. I'm like, oh, it's that bad right now in Las Vegas.
Right, and what does that do with
That toxic
Devontae Adams, who came there to play with his good friend?
college with his college quarterback. Now he's probably thinking, shit, I got 4 years.
I know, right?
4
Signed a big
years.
deal. We might see a big trade with him this offseason.
Yeah, who knows? But just when you thought the Raiders were getting it together, and man, quite the opposite. I mean, on paper, that team looked amazing going into the season, and if we know that their coach, had his struggles there in Denver, and but we know he's an offensive guy, and he has the talent to do it. Obviously, he is not meant to be an NFL head
I was about to
coach.
say, yeah, Josh McDaniel just might be one of these guys. It's a great coordinator, but just not a head coach because
Yeah,
whatever went
it's,
wrong there, it went wrong this season. And like you said, that offense should have been one of the top in the league with Carr and Devontae Adams and
it just
Waller,
struggled
Josh
all
Jacobs. I mean,
season.
so much talent on that offense.
Yeah,
Uh,
just so many struggles.
but yeah, see that NFC playoff picture. So we mentioned the Eagles. They just need to win. They just need to win next week, and they will lock
They
up
play.
home
Then
field
they play the
advantage.
Giants.
Yeah, they play the Giants. So, like we said, the Giants, their seed's already set. They're going to be the 6th seed. They'll be traveling to whoever the 3 seed is in the first round. So we're not sure if there'll be what the rest situation will be for the Giants next week. But depending on the health of Jalen Hurts, do the Eagles try to rush him back to lock up that first seed in the bye and home field advantage, or because that could quickly, you lose that, and the Cowboys that could quickly turn from, oh well, we still get a home game to no, you got to go on the road in the first round.
Yeah, that could change a lot of stuff.
Now, granted, that would be against the NFC South champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who locked up their division today. But you never know; that could be they
And
could be one of those teams
That's
that
still a
like
tough. That's a
barely
tough
scrape through,
thing to
and then
go
yeah.
into. Just because it's Tom Brady, just because of
Mm-hmm.
what he brings.
Mm-hmm.
And Tampa, you just never know with them. They've been so up and down, but I mean that man Tom Brady still threw for 432 today.
Mm-hmm. Mike Evans,
Mike
his best
Evans
game of the
3 6.
season by far,
Yeah.
getting loose, getting deep again. It
Yeah.
was just against the Panthers, so we'll see. But we said they locked up the NFC South. They will be the 4th seed.
Mm-hmm.
We're waiting on results of those Vikings and Niners games to see where they stand in terms of the seeding. And then next week, let's see, the Packers are playing right now. We mentioned that. They're playing the Vikings. So that's a big game for both of
I
them.
think we're pretty much waiting to see who's get that last spot in the NFC, and then where the chips fall as far as everybody else is going.
Yeah, that's it. As of right now, the Lions have control of the 7th spot at 8-8. The Commanders did themselves, like you said, no favors today, losing to the Browns. They're now at 7-8-1. The Packers are 7-8. The Seahawks are 7-8, and the Saints are 7-9, still alive technically. Next week, we'll see what everybody's playing. Detroit goes to Green Bay, so that could be a really big one. Minnesota goes to Chicago. New Orleans hosts Carolina. Let's see, Washington hosts the Cowboys. So, and Seattle hosts the Rams. So we'll see what happens with these late afternoon games. The Seahawks currently up 10-3. Yeah.
I mean, that'll have some definite determinations as far as not only people who plays and different things, but how important that game is to those teams.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure at the same time, if it's still open as far as the home field and everything, I'm sure all those games will be on at the same time, so people won't know what to do.
Yeah, this should be a
usually,
fun finish in the NFC and in the AFC as well.
that
There's still a
last
battle
spot.
for the top seed right now. The Chiefs and Bills both. The Chiefs at 13-3. They beat Denver earlier. The Bills play the Bengals tomorrow night on Monday Night Football.
Into Cincinnati, and Bengals been red hot. So that'd
Mm-hmm.
be
No, it is in Cincinnati. Yeah, it is. Yeah, so that'll be that one's
that'll
big
be
for that seed in for the AFC North as well. The Ravens and Steelers play a big one tonight in Baltimore Sunday night. The Steelers fighting for their playoff lives. The Ravens already have a
also
spot clinched up, but they're fighting for the division crown.
yeah. And the Steelers also trying to keep that above 500
Mm-hmm.
streak going.
Oh, looks like Packers getting a
Back
defensive touchdown right now, or a special teams. I don't really see what happened there.
kick return.
Oh,
7 yards deep.
oh, big. Well, that's a big development there.
That's something
Somehow
that's something you really don't see this much. People just don't even return kicks anymore.
oh no, yeah, there's arms out, let the ball bounce. Oh yeah, he's about good 6, 7 yards deep,
Huh.
just right up the middle.
Ah.
Hey, you got no chance, Greg Joseph. No. Mm. So that's a big one there. Yeah, the Packers, after that struggle season they've had, somehow still have a shot.
Still getting it together. They
Mm-hmm.
seem like a whole since the month of December. The Packers are a way different team.
But yeah, we're back on the AFC. We mentioned, the Jaguars have now taken control of the AFC South. They're at 8-8, and I do believe they play the Titans next week.
Yeah.
We're 7-9 after their loss. Yep, they do in Jacksonville. So that one will be for the division, I believe, in the
Yeah.
playoff spot. We mentioned the
Big.
Ravens Steelers, big one in Baltimore tonight. The Patriots beat the Dolphins earlier today, so they now have control of the
Dolphins,
7th seed. And Dolphins
guys,
just, oof.
Dolphins not make the playoffs at all.
Yeah, right. They have lost a lot.
Right.
And another
Teddy Bridgewater
concussion for
out
Tua. Oh yeah, Teddy got hurt. Tua got a concussion last week. Another one, and maybe why he played such a horrible fourth quarter.
there.
Um,
He
Teddy
might need.
Bridgewater starts today. What? Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Tua might need to hang it up after this season, just because that's three concussions in one season. That's tough.
It's really rough. There's definitely going to have to be, someone's going to have to protect him from,
Himself.
himself. Yeah, because he's a competitor and he wants to get out there. But you can ask guys like Troy Aikman about that. No fun, and it's horrible to see for a guy with so much potential like Tua had, but they got to protect him. And
A new marriage. Just had a baby. It sounds like.
mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, way too young to be in that situation already. So unfortunately, long term, he might. No matter how tough it is, it's hard to step away from the game, as Tom Brady will tell you.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to let it go for the betterment of everything. But we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah. So they sit 8-8, and they are on the outside looking in. New England holds the tiebreaker because of their division record at the moment. The Jets at 7-8 are still there. They are currently playing the
See,
Seahawks and losing, I believe. Yeah, 10-3 Seattle there. We mentioned the Steelers at 7-8. They have a shot still, trying to keep their, like you said, their winning season streak alive and their slim playoff hopes alive. And then the Titans will get their shot in Jacksonville. Other than that, it's seeding. Still a race for that
yeah,
number one seed. Still a race for, I guess, for the wild card seeding. Yeah, with Baltimore, Los Angeles, maybe Cincinnati in there. If the Ravens can beat the Ravens, would see either way. Actually, as long as the Ravens win tonight, it doesn't matter what Cincinnati does, because if they win next week, they will have the head-to-head
right.
advantage over Cincinnati. So we'll see a couple big primetime games tonight and tomorrow night. But as far as next week goes, for everyone involved there, New England travels to Buffalo, so that's a tough way to close out the season, trying to get a playoff spot. We mentioned Baltimore goes to Cincinnati. Who else is in it? Kansas City will go to the Raiders. The Dolphins and Jets will play in Miami. It'll be interesting to see if they put him back out for that or if they shut him down. Pittsburgh will host the Browns, who all of a sudden are kind of plucky. They're not even really playing that great either. That's the thing.
No, they're not.
And
They're still
yeah,
they're still looking bad.
but yeah, so should be a fun end of the season before we get into the playoffs here in the NFL. Got any other NFL football thoughts? Anything?
Just what we've been saying. It's fun, fun into the season. A lot of questions still to be answered. A lot of spots to be determined. So be a good end this week and next week. We'll see how it all shakes out.
Indeed. We will switch over to the NBA now. Who this is about the time of year everyone starts really paying
Paying
attention
attention.
to the NBA, their big Christmas schedule, a bunch of great games. But the kind of story of this week is some young stars just absolutely balling out. We'll start with your guys, Luka, man.
My goodness, he just had just put together quite the week there. Of course, big one, 61 there on Wednesday night in the Garden, triple double.
Best triple
Just
double since like Wilt or something, right?
Yeah,
Like,
just an epic performance. Not only that, but the big shot that sent it to overtime.
mm-hmm.
And then the response after that drops a 35-point triple double, and then a 51 almost triple double last night against the Spurs. So I mean, this the week that Lucas had has been crazy.
Absolutely. Putting the Mavs
Putting
on
the
his
team on his
back
back.
as
Yeah,
always.
and
Um,
three wins in the week there. So let's see. But man, quite the week for him. But it's been a lot of young talent that's been really balling out there. I mean, your Pelicans are back first in the West again.
yeah, I think they're a half game back of the Nuggets right now. But yeah, after
So,
kind of a streaky season, they had a 7 game win streak, then they had a 4 game lose streak, but now they've won 3 in a row again. And Zion Williamson kind of announced himself this week. I mean, we already knew obviously who he was and the talent, but he had a career high game the other night,
yeah.
43 points, scored the last 14 to win the game. Had another big game. Was it last night or 2 nights ago against Philly? Out playing Embiid there. Of course, that was CJ McCollum's game. Hit a
Yeah,
franchise
CJ had a
record
big
11 threes. Had like 42, 43 of
on
his own
fire.
points.
Yeah.
Um, Najee Marshall is emerging as a kind of a spot starter and a great bench guy. He had a career high against the Pacers earlier in the week.
Yeah, definitely.
And this is all this is without Brandon Ingram and Herb Jones. They're
Exactly.
they're both still out. Brandon Ingram's got an ankle thing going on, so he's still trying to get back. And once they add Herb's defense and Bi's offense again, they really kind of jumped up. They're a contender this year, at least for the
Yeah.
West. I don't know in a
Yeah.
7 game series against a team like Boston or Milwaukee, but
Man, they definitely jump from just a playoff team to a definite contender with how things have looked. I mean, they beating all the big boys and show that they can hang with everybody. So
mhm.
everybody stays healthy and everybody's hurt gets back. I mean, yeah, the Pelicans are a team to definitely watch as the season continues there and then to the second half for sure.
Yeah, yeah, we mentioned there now second place. Your Mavs have jumped up to fourth place on the strength of a 6 game winning streak. I believe they're the hottest team in the league. No, that'd be the Nets over in the East. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
11
they
games in
went
a row.
11 straight. But that's a team you're like, well, it's about time you guys
Yeah, that's what you
started
should have
doing
been
this
doing for the
because
past 2 seasons.
talent as you guys have, yeah, you guys definitely, I mean, definitely should be doing this. But yeah, it's good to see that because that the Eastern Conference, for the longest was known as the East is the weak link. But now you can think about it, if everybody goes into the playoffs healthy, I mean, you have the Celtics, the Bucks, the Nets. I
Mhm.
mean, that's quite the
The
quite
Cavs
the
playing
yeah, the
hot. The
Cavs, yeah,
Sixers
the
with all that
Cavs.
star power.
I mean, that's just. I mean, the playoffs on both conferences. It's gonna be epic. It's just a matter of getting there and keeping everybody healthy. But man, we're in for some great playoff basketball once we get to April.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's really only like a handful of teams that aren't really in any contention.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it. I mean, it's a lot of teams right there.
Yeah, and even in on any given night, they can kind of ruin someone's night. A team like the Pistons, although they did lose Cade Cunningham, so that's a
Yeah,
downer for
change.
that young team. But even like teams like the Lakers kind of played well for a little while. They lost Anthony Davis, who hurt again. So
Healthy for those 10 games. He was putting up numbers.
he was
That
looking like that, kind of that all world guy that we knew he always had potential to be and showed flashes of. But then he got hurt. But LeBron showing out on his birthday the other day, and or
that's incredible. 38. This is what he's still doing. Yes, they're not winning games, but I mean, how many people have we seen fall off as they get to 40 and still dropping triple doubles, and not just triple doubles. I mean, big time number triple doubles. 41. I mean, just crazy numbers there. So
yeah, like key for them will be if he can stay healthy enough and they can stay just kind of hanging around. They're 2.5 out of a play-in spot right now behind the Jazz, who are still winning games and still playing tough. They have lost four in a row at the moment, but another
yeah,
team they're ahead of another team that's collapsing, the T Wolves.
yeah,
Uh,
that's a
that experiment does not seem to be working out.
no. The bad thing is they went all in for that too.
Hmm. Yeah,
Putting it,
that's rough right there. So we'll see how that plays out. But then you got guys like the Thunder, SGA having a good week.
that's a guy. He probably doesn't get near enough conversation because that man. If you look at his stat line night tonight, that man puts up ridiculous numbers.
He does, and with all their picks and stuff, you do wonder if he's a guy that might eventually want to play somewhere where he has a chance to play in the playoffs, or if he just decides to stick it out and try to put the Thunder on his back, or
They the way that they do things there. I mean, I think they're a team that we've seen them. They've drafted well over the years. They put together, they put together some talent. Even when a couple years ago they brought in Chris Paul, and everybody thought, well, that's just a loss of a season, and they made the playoffs there and really took Houston to the brink of defeat there. So I
mm-hmm.
mean, it hasn't been the same since Katie and Westbrook has left, but I mean, they're still, excuse me, considering the situation, I mean, they put a lot of effort into it. I mean, you can't take them lightly. They're not a team that folds. So,
No, yeah. We're not even mentioning teams like the Clippers, Kawhi Leonard finally healthy.
right,
They're going to show out. The Suns are still there. The
they're right.
Grizz are still there.
The Nuggets,
Yeah, the Nuggets with Luke or not Lucas, sorry, the Joker man. He gunning for a third straight MVP award.
man.
They're just it's going to be a fun back half of this season here in the NBA once football winds down. It's going to
Oh,
be really fun.
right. And if you saw that dude, you would never think, oh, he's a dominant basketball player. If you didn't know anything about basketball and saw that man just going, you'd be like, what is he, security at a club or something?
Yeah, he's a door guy, maybe a pro wrestler, maybe
Right.
he looks like maybe a guy that should be playing on an outdoor court with a cigarette hanging out of his lip. Like that guy that shows up to the Y, your local court or whatever, and just
Yeah.
kind of balls out on everyone with minimum effort. But it's a really fun time in the NBA right now. College basketball conference season starting up on that. Alabama got a good win over State on the road the other night.
Yeah. That was a solid win there.
Mm-hmm. Good second half, strong second half.
Also can have good ball movement. The threes were falling. But yikes, the Mississippi I was times it's been us with those free throw situations, but Mississippi State was so terrible at the line the other night.
It was embarrassing how bad they were. I'm
God, it,
gonna try to look that
like
up
we
real quick.
quite a lot, so I was happy we were on the other end of that.
Yeah, it was. I
But
know at one point they were like 3 of 15 from the line. I
yeah.
don't know what it ended up here.
I think they were a little under 50 for the night. but it was a long night for them at the free throw line.
But yeah, that was a rough way to start. Yeah, their conference season. Good, great if you're an Alabama fan. It's exactly what we want. They're
Harold Miss coming.
Ole Miss coming up on the 3rd, and then on the 7th, the big one, Kentucky coming to Tuscaloosa. And then on the road at Arkansas, who finally suffered their first loss to LSU the other night. But yeah, that should be, it's not the same as it was. We've talked about that before. It's not, college isn't as exciting as it used to be, but still a
Yeah,
good time and
still
to be an Alabama fan at least.
for sure. That's the beauty of it though. Yeah, because overall, I'm not watching as much college. Yesterday there were some decent games on, but I didn't. Of course, with the playoff on, I really didn't even think about flipping, which is weird because I mean there was some decent ball on there, but yeah, just not the same. But yeah, definitely Alabama. I watch every game there, so one way or the other. But yeah, it's a lot of fun so far this year. And if we this coming up week we get some big wins, and could be a special team.
Yeah, absolutely. Those final numbers, State finished exactly 50%, 18 to 36 from the free throw line the other night, and 11-point loss. That's big.
Yeah.
But Alabama hit 12 of 32 on threes. So yeah, you want to see that number still jump up a little bit, but that's what you want. You want those threes to start dropping for the team. And Brandon Miller, another great game. Sears is really starting to come on.
And the thing I love about Miller, I mean, he has great court vision too, because some of those passes, whew,
Mm-hmm.
and just our inside guys too. I mean, they're playing well there on the middle, in the middle there.
But yes,
Just have to keep it going there. But I think this team is hungry. I mean, they show a show a certain effort every game that I don't think we saw at times last year, which is very frustrating. So it seems to be a much more bought-in team. And another thing too, once we get Burnett back, I mean that's going to be key to our defense there. So
yeah, for sure. Be a fun
ooh,
January in
pick
sports coming
six
up here. Oh, interception, Green Bay.
yeah.
Intercepted it back after
To the house.
Aaron threw one. Yep, he's got a convoy. So two teams
Wow.
fighting hard for playoff seating
Green
and
Bay.
playoff spots there in Lambeau. Uh, you got anything else in the world of sports, Greg?
Not a whole lot. Just it's going to be a fun into a college football season, a fun into the NFL regular season, going into the playoffs. And we had a crazy playoffs last year. I would have to think, based on how some of this season has gone, we're in for another treat of a postseason there in the NFL.
Indeed, indeed. All right then, folks, and we will take it to how we always end. Greg, what has been done up real good for you this week?
Just I guess just seeing another year there, 2023. Just be, see, not really into all the, what I'm gonna, what I plan to do in 23, because a lot of times, you don't things don't go as planned there, but just a matter of, just enjoying it, appreciating it, and trying to get better at life. How about you?
Yeah, kind of the same. Just nice holiday. Got to see some family. Meeting the nephew, or excuse me, the niece for the first time. So that was
Nice,
good. Some
sure.
family members starting getting to meet my son for the first time. Just kind of
Oh,
relaxing and,
love that.
like you said, just taking it into a new year, and we'll see what it holds for us. Right now, just good sports on TV. Arsenal's still winning for me over in England. They had a good start to their restarting the season after the World Cup.
Right.
So that's it. As far as everything else, what we got? We got pro wrestling, the Royal Rumble season coming up. I'm sure the
Yeah.
boys over in the Alabama Slam Pod will talk a lot about that. I might even try to sneak my way on one episode for that. Me, the Rumble has always been my favorite event of the year.
Yeah. The Royal Rumble's always epic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm waiting for one to come close enough. I'd love to go to one in person at some point. Uh,
You would think that Atlanta would get a Royal Rumble at some point.
I don't know if they've had one in the past or not, but you would think they'd get one
Right.
soon at least. But
Right.
we'll see. But folks, as we mentioned Alabama Slam Pod. Taking It Down is back. I think there was a new episode of Check Your Shelf recently. Just all kinds of great podcasts on the Alabama Tech Network. And as always, you can go to our website, alabamatech.com. Read everything great going on there. Follow us on all the various Instagram social media accounts. Maybe one day I'll create one for this podcast. We'll see. But Greg, until next time, buddy, you have a good week.
You as well.
All right. Thank y'all. Keep it done up real good out there.